Alright, testing. That doesn't look like what I'm trying to watch. That looks like Ed on C-Sharp's thing. There we go. Let's do this one. That's better. Alright, so today, let's see. Today we're going to work on Specification project first off. And Specification is a design pattern that you can use for defining queries inside of objects. It helps work really well with a repository pattern implementation, because then your repository doesn't have to be huge once you have more custom queries and things in it. A good example of this you'll find in the eShop on Web sample. So eShop on Web is a free ASPNET core reference application. If you go in here and you take a look at the source, you'll see there's a specifications folder with a bunch of specifications that are used in this app, and then they're actually used inside of the infrastructure here inside this EF repository, where you can see you can just pass in an iSpecification to a list and it will apply it and generate the resulting query. And that result will have sorting, filtering, selection, paging, all those good things applied to it. So the Ardalis specification NuGet package is basically a way to do that so that you don't have to implement it all yourself. And you can just add this package to your .NET solution, and then you have the ability to use specifications with your repositories. I don't yet have a repository NuGet package that works with this, because I think probably it's better if you write that part yourself. Although it might make sense to take something like this and throw it into a package somewhere, just because this is pretty reusable. But for now, I haven't done that. The challenge today is Eric Fleming and I have been working on this, and the group by stuff broke in EF Core 3.0, and so that's been vexing us. And so I think we're just going to rip that out for the next release that we're about to do of this. So let's see. The current release, I can get to it from here. Current release is this 2.1, which we just put out 2 days ago. But I think we're going to have to rev it to 3.0 because of a breaking change we're going to make by ripping out group by. So let's take a look at that. Let me see who's on the chat today. We got Surly Dev, Tony Davis is here, another TTV viewer. All right. Few people. Welcome. And then after we do this little bit of work here, we're going to make this change and push it out and hopefully get it up on NuGet.org real quick. Then the next thing that I plan to work on is making a fix to the DevBetter website. So that's going to have to do with confirmation emails for how login works, which has been a problem I've been fighting with multiple times for months now. So I think I'm going to finally get it right. Alright, so let's look at where we are with specification. Eric had a branch he was working on, which I just pulled down. I think we're on the latest version of everything now, so Net Standard 2.0. I think the EF stuff is all still in here. Yep. And when we run this, there's actually a run tests.batch or sh, and it's going to use Docker to actually run these tests, because the interesting thing about the EF specification evaluator is that it's going to actually test that the link to entities part works, and that generates SQL, and it only works if you're actually talking to a real database. It doesn't work if you're talking to like EF Core's in-memory provider. In that case, all it does is run link to objects, which doesn't do any SQL translation. So what this test script does is it actually spins up two Linux containers, one of which has SQL Server and the other one has our our code that we're trying to test, and it actually will let it run its suite of tests against the database, and then tear it all down again. So it's very repeatable. I haven't run this on this machine in a while, and we've updated some of the containers that we're using to the latest, so that's why it's having to pull everything down this first time. Fortunately, I've got a pretty fast network connection, so this shouldn't take too long. One of the things you have to do with this, you can see up here, there's this wait command that's being referenced. When we start these two containers off, the SQL Server container takes a little while to start up and actually be responsive. So there's a command in here that's going to wait for SQL to start responding. So you can see right now it went pretty fast, but there were a few lines there where it was waiting for port 1433 to respond. And then eventually it did, and now you can see the database is starting up, and this is all SQL Server logging coming out of here. And then it's going to start running our tests. Or did it run our tests? What did it do? Usually it would be running our tests right about now, but it just decided to abort the container and exit. Ah, I see. Because of the problem. Yeah, the name group by does not exist in the current context. Right there. Okay, so base specification 9513. That must be where we've left things off. All right, so where's base specification? And line 95. Well, we don't even build right now, do we? All that just to find out it doesn't even build. All right, like I said, this was work in progress that Eric just handed off to me. So I think we're ripping this out for now. And we may reapply it at some point, but for now we don't have this. This post thing, let's see. Take that out. And that at least lets us run. Alright, now let's run this again. This should be a lot faster. This doesn't have to pull down the containers. Thanks for the follow. We'll build apps. Alright, so there's the database spinning up. And wait for it. There we go. Now we're actually going to run some tests. There's an error logging onto the database. That happens sometimes. I'm not sure why. I think it might have to be with the database not being all the way set up yet. Alright, so those tests just ran. 15 passed. Those are integration tests. And then done. Alright, so 15 for 15 on the integration test front. That's good. Higher up there, I think it was also running unit tests. They flew by, I think, without me seeing them. Maybe? Yeah, maybe not. I thought it ran the unit tests as well. In any case, the important ones ran, the integration tests ran. Let me see if I can run the unit tests. Do I still have unit tests? Yeah, they're right here. Let's run these tests as well. Let's go Test Explorer. Hit the unit tests, run those, make sure we're all good there. You gonna actually run these? No? I'm telling you to run these. Come on, Visual Studio. It doesn't want to run them. What are you doing? Unexpected error. See the test output pane. Perhaps it doesn't like what version I'm running. That Core App 2.2 is trying to target something higher. Let me see if I get a better error message here. Alright. Boom. 21 tests pass. Okay. Well, Visual Studio doesn't like it for some reason, but they pass. So what have we changed here? We ripped out those things, and then whatever out.txt is. What was that? Oh, I know what that is. That's just that. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and commit this. So version 3.0 did that already. Oh, but then this didn't work out. So we removed that and removed group by, which is no longer supported by EF Core 3.0. That's not entirely true. It's supported under certain circumstances, but we'll just leave it with that. Alright, I think we can commit this. So let's look at our changes. I don't think I want to put that in there. Let's ignore this. And just adding that. Just getting rid of that. We'll leave this commented out for now. I'm surprised there's not some tests that are failing. Let's go look for that. We had some group by tests, I thought. That's the spec. I think we put them all in here. Ah, there we go. So it's not used by anything. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's push this up and see what happens. This might be pretty quick if everything goes well. So now let's go back out here. Let's go look at our build. You gonna let me access this? No. I'm never able to log in here correctly. Like, you people probably could log in to this, but for me, I wonder if there's a way to open that in like a different incognito browser. There we go. Nope, that still doesn't work. Alright. Nobody can get to this. That's annoying. Nope. Alright. This is why we're going to Github Actions, because Github Actions I can actually log into. And I think I've actually got Github Actions set up on this. I do need to do a pull request though before any of that's going to happen. So let's do this and create the pull request. Okay. And that is a GitHub action. So maybe I just need to rip out that Azure one, because I don't think I'm using it. There's the Azure one. It's going to run, but I can't see it, no matter how many times I click on it. Alright, let's look at the details of this build. Current .NET SDK does not support targeting .NET Core 3.1. Alright, well, that's not ideal. Let's go see if we can edit that GitHub action. That's not going to work. Okay, what's the latest? .NET 3.1 SDK download. 3.1.201, 3.1.300. Let's see if I can do that. Commas. try that. Alright. And do it. Alright, if this works, I'm definitely ripping out the Azure Pipeline stuff, because it just keeps sending me down the wrong path. And details. Right. Rerun. Eric, I see you lurking there, man. Alright, let's see what this is installing. Hopefully it's 3.1 this time. There really ought to be some base images that already have this installed, so that we wouldn't have to do this every time. It would speed things up significantly. And it blew up again. Alright. Use a version of .NET that supports 3.1. I think I did. Alright, let's look at this. That worked though. Interesting. What did this change? I guess when I said to rerun it, reran it with the same everything it had before. I know what? What are you going to tell me, Eric? Alright, so that worked. Alright, it would be cool if I could actually run my integration tests on the Github Action. I'm not going to try and figure that out right now, but that would be a nice thing to do later. I don't seem to have that on here. But let's put this in here. Yeah, it was still on 2.2. I've sorted that out. Alright, run integration tests using run test.sh during GitHub build. Do that later. Alright, so my pull request I think is green now, maybe? So you're still not happy. Why can't, how do I run this on this one again? It ran okay on local. Details. If I rerun it, it's running it on 2.2 still. Because this one needs to be updated. And so I just need to go to the pull request. I need to update it with... Where's the option to do that? There should be an option to pull it into the latest. Guess we'll do it down here. So let's say git fetch. There's the origin. Git merge origin. Give me that new ASPNET core YAML. Alright. Git push. So that should get me onto the better version of the build, and there's that, so we should be good. Alright, while we're at it, I'm hoping this is going to build. This still has an X, but this has a yellow box, so we'll see. Alright, now I think I'm going to get rid of the Azure Pipelines YAML, so let's just rename that. I guess we'll do that in here. Azure Pipelines YAML. What should we call it? Dot obsolete. There. Now it won't find it. Probably, well, maybe. See if it'll let me do this. Yeah, it doesn't like to let you do that if you do it with the GitHub Action files, but it'll let you do it with Azure Pipelines because it doesn't know that that's anything special, apparently. Alright, so that should get that out of there. Then we can come in here and get rid of the Azure Pipeline build status. We got Azure DevOps coverage can go, build status on Azure DevOps can go, action status can stay. I should probably put some more stuff in here about specification in the README. Remove Azure DevOps badges, commit. Alright, now let's go back to our pull request. And look at that, green check mark. Woohoo! Let's do that. Squash and merge. We should be good now, hopefully. I'm going to delete your branch, Eric. And locally, we can switch back to master. And we can pull. We should be good to go now. And we should be able to run our tests again just to verify they still work. Pretty sure this used to run unit tests too. But it sure looks like they're just running integration tests now, which is fine. This just runs Docker Compose. Docker Compose says grab the Docker file. The Docker file says .NET test, and then move all the files and then build the report, which I'm not really doing anything with the report right now anyway. So that should run the unit tests and integration tests, I would think. But integration tests all passed. Unit tests, still don't see. There's the unit test right there. So it says starting test execution, and then goes right by it. And here, test run failed. Framework version 2.2 was not. That's the problem. So I didn't update this framework? Yeah, that's why. Alright, so that 3.1 should also be on here. That doesn't really affect anything else, so let's just try running this now. Well, you need to be more clear. I think I'll still need to update the unit as project to be .NET Core 3. Okay, you were more clear. I just didn't read high enough up on your chat. Alright. I thought you were talking about the server-side build running 2.2 with its SDK, which I fixed. Boom, unit tests. Boom, integration tests. Alright, cool. Alright, I think we're close to done here. Let's see if our build has deployed our stuff for us. So I do have another action for that, don't I? Or did the Azure pipeline do that and I just ripped it out? That might be the thing. I think I might have to look at that. Curses. Eric, there was a reason why we still had Azure doing stuff, right? It was because it was doing this for us. But I've done this on another package, so let me see if I can see which one that is. I think it was guard clauses. Let's see, actions. You don't have any actions. Alright, maybe it wasn't you. It was Smartino. Smartino actions. Which one did I do? It must be API endpoints. That's the most recent one. Alright, so we are going to go implement publishing to NuGet using actions, stealing this code right here. Alright, so publish to NuGet. Alright. This will take a little bit more time, but it shouldn't be too bad. So in here, we have workflows, we have publish. I want to steal this. Publish.yaml. Alright, so in here, go to Github workflows. We're going to add a new file. We're going to call it publish.yaml. Paste this in. And should be pretty close. It's already using .NET 3.1. Let's make that 300 so we're same. Yep, see you in a bit, Eric. That's not going to work, so that'll have to change. What are we doing? Ardalis.specification. So specification. It should be otherwise good. Right? CD source. CD Ardalis. Yep, good, I'm consistent. So that path looks correct right there. Version directory build props. I don't think I have one of those, so I probably need one of those as well. So let's go steal that from API endpoints. I don't see that in API endpoints. Like, here it is. Ah, right here. Maybe I need to get latest. There's nothing there to care about. I still don't see any directory props files. Oh, that's commented out. Duh. Alright, so that's why. Don't care about that. Version... Okay, so this is all good. So we're going to commit this. We want to change this ASPNET core one to also match. So let's look at this. And it's on push. I want to edit that. I want it to match what I'm doing over here. Stop selecting everything. There. It is on push. Alright, so they do match, maybe. Let's see. It's pretty much the same. Name. On push, build, runs on, steps, checkout, setup, run, and test. I should probably do the test bit too, so let's just steal that. YAML wants to worry about white space, that looks good. Oh shoot, I don't want to do that actually. Nope. Because if I tell it to run the test, it's going to try and run the integration test too, which it can't do. What I would like it to do is just run. I wonder if I can do that. Well, I'll come back to that later. So, okay, we're going to cancel this. I would like it to run those tests from that run test shell script. Hey, Potato Mo, thanks for the follow. But I don't want to do that right now because I'm in the middle of some other stuff. So let's do one thing at a time. So the one thing that we're working on right now is trying to publish to NuGet. So the other thing I need to do is go out to NuGet and log in. So I'm going to do that over here on this other browser, on this other screen. Because I'm going to get a secret token. That secret token is going to go here. So let's see. Nope, nope, nope. There, I'm signed in. I can look at my API keys. I can look at my secrets. And my secret is going to be for specification. So I'm going to create a new specification. I can push package. And it's only going to work on Ardalis.specification. Create. Copy that. And now I need to create a new secret. I need that secret to match the name that I used, which I've lost now. So Ardalis specification there. That name would be wrong one. NuGet API key. Alright, so over here. That, oh look, autocomplete is helping me. And we're going to bring this over here and paste in my super secret key. And then we can bring this back. Having done that, and we should be good. So if I do a push, this should run. So let's find out. Actually, I should be able to just kick it off manually. So here's my action. Here's my publish. And it failed at some point. No jobs were run. Okay, what's the issue then? Did that get copied in there? That shouldn't be there. That looks like invalid YAML. That really shouldn't be there. I think I copied too much. But that's okay, I needed a way to kick off a build anyway. Remove errant copyright notice commit. Alright, let's wait for this to work. So here in the actions, why is this one ugly compared to this one? This one has a nicer name. Name ASPNET Core CI. Alright. Name published to NuGet. Okay. So why are these not the same? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if it works. I need to do this on all my NuGet package repositories. Get these GitHub Action set up, because Azure DevOps stuff has just always been a pain, mostly because of the authentication. You notice every time I go and look at these GitHub Actions, it's never asking me to authenticate, and then saying I can't, and that I have to use a different version of my same email address to log in. My biggest fear is that Microsoft will bring Microsoft accounts to GitHub instead of bringing GitHub accounts to Microsoft properties. Alright, hurry up. Build, build, build. It doesn't even let me expand this. That's interesting. It says my build succeeded in my email on the Ardalis DevOps, the Azure DevOps for specification. API key added to my account. Yep, yep. Alright. Let's go, let's go. Where's the publish step for this anyway? This is not even the one I want. I want to see this one. You're still failing. Why are you not running? So that one finally ran. Is there a way to tell this thing to kick off? Run again. Yeah. Alright, I've been telling you how much I love GitHub workflows, but how do I get it to run? Azure Pipeline I can just kick off. Rerun. No. Anybody got an idea? Surly Dev, bit late. Watching the government coronavirus briefing. You should just come here instead? Yeah. I mean, you can watch me flail around and trying to get my thing to publish. Eric says, once GitHub Actions figures out a good deployment strategy, it will become the go-to. Yeah, I think it's definitely the future. It's not quite there yet. I agree. Like, why is this formatted differently? Why isn't it running? Are those two things related? Do I have to actually say new workflow to make this thing work? Because it obviously found it and ran it once. Should I bother to give feedback? Is that going to just go down a rabbit hole? Let's see. I'm mostly very satisfied. Which of these make it harder to use? It doesn't actually run. I don't know why it failed. I'm pretty sure I know why it failed. That would be nice. That would be really nice. Is there anything else? I'd like to be able to kick off builds actions with a button anytime I need to. Bam. Alright. Let's try creating a new workflow. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to steal the code that I want it to have. There's publish. I'm going to grab... Yeah, that's too much. I'm going to grab this code, which looks right. And then we're going to go over here, and we're going to say I want to add a new workflow. And we'll set this workflow up. And we're going to call this publish to NuGet.yaml. And it's going to look a lot like this. Name publish to NuGet. And we'll make it unique just in case the name conflict matters. And that's 31300. This looks right. This looks right. Nothing here is still referencing my old one that I stole this from. Oh yeah, it's only looking at this path. That's part of why it's not doing it. I have to actually touch that path. Okay, I know why. I don't think I need this. I think I need to go into that path. It always bugs me when I do that, because then I forget that I have to touch something in that path. So we'll just come in here, and what can I touch in here? Let's see. I think we don't need that white space. Kick off a build. Let's see if this works. Once you get this thing working, it's nice to have that filter, because here on publish, this path right here, because then you're not, like every time you update the README, you're not generating builds. But right now, when I'm trying to just get it to work, it's a little bit annoying. I suppose I could also have a path be this GitHub Workflows path. But after I get this working, I probably don't want that either. So for now, I just have to know that to kick off a build, I have to hit something in source. Alright, so publish to NuGet is now building. And we'll get this all sorted out, hopefully right now. So here, look, it's already done. Boom. Is it green? It's green. 43 seconds. That was crazy fast. There's no way that worked. I mean, I have total confidence it worked. NuGet.org, Ardalis. What is this? Specification? I'm trying to make it 3.0. Ooh, look at that. 3.0. It's coming. Alright. Success. Mission accomplished. This is not my most heavily downloaded package. It's only like 1900. But now that it's 3.0, now it's going to be so popular. And it also supports that include. So we're looking at taking this and actually working it into the eShop on web. So that's kind of what's coming down the lane in the future. Alright, so let's say we're done with that. That's half of what I wanted to get done today, so success. Don't need that anymore. Don't really need that. Eventually, y'all will be able to see this. If you go out here right now, you won't see this. Here's a link to it if anybody wants to go. But as soon as it's done validating, it'll be listed. Alright, so while I'm here, I could try and make the running of the shell, the test shell thing work. Should I do that? Let's do that. Let's try it. I'll try it once. If it doesn't work, we'll punt. Javost, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for showing up. Alright, so we're going to add a thing here called name run integration tests. This is going to run with Docker. Run, and we're going to run this command / what's it called? I just closed all my windows like a fool. Just run capital test.sh. Alright, let's see if that works. So try running integration tests during build. Now this will slow the build down significantly. Greetings code stencil. Isn't there a thing that says like what I'm doing? Isn't there like a title or something? Oh look, there's a title. Look at that. That's what I'm doing. I'm working on specification, and right now I'm working on trying to run these tests in the build. So we're going to go over here, and this should actually be doing its thing right here. There it is. And what I want this to do, I just closed my PowerShell, but here's PowerShell. I want it to do this. It's going to do a Docker compose. It's going to pull in these two containers. It's going to run the tests in one container. It's going to run SQL Server in the other container. It's going to verify that my specification actually translates Entity Framework queries correctly into SQL, and therefore my integration tests pass. And so it works on localhost, and there it ran unit tests, and there it ran integration tests, and there you can see they all passed. So, yay. Now, the question is, can we get it to run here? And the answer is, of course not. It would never be that simple. So let's see. I probably got through everything right up to that point where I just added this. And what's the problem? Permission denied. Alright, so I need to like do a chmod to make it executable. I've had to do that before in Azure DevOps. So let's keep that one open. Let's go over here. And let's test my Linux knowledge. Can I do a run? Here, name, chmod, run, chmod 707, maybe? Alright, so one of those I need to be able to read and execute. So Linux, chmod, read, execute. Pretty sure that's 707. RWX is 7. .754 user group others. If I do 777, everybody can do anything. One is execute. I need to be able to read. So it'll be 5. So maybe just 555. Maybe that's all I need. All 3 to read and execute, but not write. That sounds reasonable. Specification pattern, Danielko. Yep, thank you. That's good. Let's try that. 555. And that should do it. So add chmod, commit. Let's see what that does. Okay, alright. It's doing these setups way faster now. I don't know why it's double entering these though. That's weird. Something's not right there. Let's try refreshing. GitHub's got an issue. Yep, there we go. Alright, now this won't show me anything, but this didn't take long last time. Chmod succeeded. Ooh, look at that. It's working. Wow. Now this will take a few minutes, I suspect. But if this runs on the server, that'll be pretty awesome. Because I haven't gotten this working before. Alright, here we go. It should be able to pull these Docker images super fast. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to create the database. Maybe? There it is. Alright, cool. Now it's running. It's waiting for the database to respond. Now the database is spinning up. And once the database is finished spinning up, we should run our tests. Unit tests ran 21 for 21. Whole lot of EF stuff is about to fly by. It always fails to log in the first time. I don't know why, but then the tests still pass. So there it went. There goes all my EF, and that looked good too. Yeah, 15, 15. And so we should be good to go, right? Clean up, done, complete. Awesome. Well, that was easier than I thought. Alright, so that's passing. That's now 3.0. And so that means that that should be out there. Listed. Yep, perfect. And last thing we can do here today is close that issue I added. So this actually works. Alright, now we're going to switch gears. And it's perfect because 1 o'clock. So still got an hour left. We'll put half the time into the next project, which is the DevBetter web app. And so if we go out here and we look for, I'm pretty sure I just submitted to it. Should be right here. But it's not. Oh, you know what? I moved it. It's not under my account anymore. It's under DevBetter.com. DevBetter web. There we go. Alright, so this is my project that we're going to work on. And it's all set up to use GitHub Actions as well, and it deploys to Azure. And let's get this thing up and running here somewhere. So let's do open project, DevBetter web. There we go. This is just a standard ASP.NET Core web application. Let's close all these things down. Boom. Alright, now the issue that I've been running into is this. If you go out to devbetter.com and you want to register, so I'm already logged in, but we log out, we register, and we register as whatever, Steve +8 at whatever.com, and we use some password, and we register. Now I'm going to get an email. No. Theoretically. And that email is going to be over here. And it's probably going to spam, maybe. I don't see it. Theoretically, I get an email. Email's been sent. Hopefully that was a good email that I should be able to get to. Pretty sure I've used that technique before, just using a plus to get the email to come through. Surly Dev, should you fork a project you're intending to use as a base for your projects with no intention of contributing, or do you just clone it and redirect origin to your own repo? So like if you wanted to use my clean architecture, I would probably fork it first. That way you have your own. The other benefit of using a fork is that if you're not intending to contribute to it, but somebody else might still be contributing to it, and you want to be able to pull in their changes easily, then a fork, it's much easier for you to pull in changes that are happening underneath, like on the base thing that you're working on. So like if I go out to my clean architecture repo here, which I'm logged in, I don't know what this is. Consider inviting someone to be my successor. Wow, they think I'm not going to make it. That's grim. Alright, so anyway, here, if you were to take this and fork it, which 900 people have done, yeah, exactly. So I'll do security patches and other things. So I'm contributing to this fairly frequently. So like code frequency, maybe, like, you know, pretty regularly. There's something happening with it. It's not like the most active project ever, but it's pretty much just me and a few people doing pull requests. But as .NET gets security patches or gets updated to new versions, if you want to be able to just pull those into your version from your fork, you'd be able to do that much easier if you had a fork of this than if you were to just clone this and then create a new repo called surlydev/clean architecture or whatever, and then push this up there. Right now they're just totally unrelated. So the fork is probably the right way to go. Alright, now this is the base. Speaking of all that, this is the base of the DevBetter site. Now in my case, I didn't follow that advice. I didn't just fork it. And the reason for that is because this was going to be a live application that was going to be, totally divergent from this. The downside to that is that, right now, when I want to pull something in from here, well, I guess I don't need to do that. But if I did want to pull something in from here, I can't just use the fork, right? I have to use the fork, Luke. I have to actually go and just copy the code over myself. So where'd that other window go? There, it's over. There it is. Too many tabs. Let's put these all in one set. There we go. Okay. Tony Davis says, how would you counter the argument that EF ORMs in general aren't fit for enterprise applications? They may produce inefficient SQL, DBAs want complete control over queries, etc. Yeah, that argument was had like a decade ago. I'd send them this article that I wrote a couple months ago, which I'll paste in the chat for you. But basically, ORMs won that fight, and the reason why is because developer time is expensive and computer time is cheap. So if developers can go twice as fast by using ORMs instead of having to deal with SQL, then it's going to be a lot more good use of your money, and you're going to get faster time to market and more value from your team by leveraging a tool like an ORM than by having a SQL DBA gatekeeper that's a bottleneck and slows down all your development efforts. And so there was this big fight that looked like this between store procedures for all the things that DBAs could control and optimize and secure, and ORMs that were just like developers wanting to get their job done. But with all the downsides to that, which is they aren't always good SQL and they aren't always, as easy to control as store procedures. I mean, there's definitely trade-offs, right? But ORMs pretty much won, especially in the enterprise, I think. So I think that ship has sailed, right? And so the next one that's coming, and the argument that I'm making in this article, is that GraphQL is the new ORM. Like today, most enterprise shops are using ORMs, but they're building front-end applications on Angular and React and soon Blazor, and all of them are talking to APIs, and those APIs are very carefully crafted by back-end developers who understand or maybe have at least heard of, REST and all these other principles and best practices and things on how to build these perfect APIs. But the problem is if you're a front-end developer and you just want to be able to ship code and have users, use your stuff, you got to wait on those darn back-end developers to build those APIs. And every time there's a change, you got to wait for them to ship it and deploy it and be able to use it, which takes longer than a store procedure update typically. GraphQL avoids all that. GraphQL lets you just have one endpoint that you pass a GraphQL JSON query to, and it returns you back the data in whatever structure you said you wanted it in. So I think that the GraphQL is going to, move a lot of that away from APIs that are very finely curated toward, GraphQL being the way that front-end developers do their job faster. And as a back-end developer myself, I recognize that that's, a little bit scary, and I have to now I have to go learn GraphQL. But, that's life as a software developer. If you're not learning, you're falling behind. SurlyDev says, you're agreeing with Brent Ozar. He says DBA wants business logic in Sprock so that they can easily change it. But if you have multiple developers and only one DBA, then you can see where your bottleneck is. Yeah. Plus, it's not really easy to test store procedures relative to, say, C# code. You can do it. It's just not as easy. So hopefully that answers that question. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. We're trying to get a verification email. And for whatever reason, this didn't seem like it actually sent me an email, which is kind of the point, right? Because the next thing that you would do is say, hey, I didn't get the email. Let me click this button. Bing. And then you get this error, right? And the reason why you get this error is because of, me fiddling around with this again and again, trying to get this to work. The current version of the code has a null reference exception in it. And the reason for that, I will show you, is that inside this email verification page, this is not authorized. So if you're not logged in, you can still do it. And right here, though, the very first line of the post where I say, hey, send me this thing, it tries to look you up by user.identity.name. And guess what? If we don't know who you are, then this is null. And this blows up with a null reference exception. So let's back up for a second. What's going on here? Why is this broken? The root of the problem is that a while ago, when we first built this site, we didn't require you to verify your email. And then somewhere along the way, we said, hey, let's just do that, right? So I'm not even sure if it was me. I think it was somebody else that contributed to the site, added something that said, hey, it needs to be verified. And where the heck is that? Where's the identity configuration where we do verified email? Verification. Huh. I thought somewhere when we did add identity, let's do it for identity. Migration scripts, identity, initial model. Here. Is that it? No. Adjustment core user role membership service. That's fine. But that's not saying where it needed it. Anyway, I'm looking for the code where we configure identity. We said that they needed to have a verified email. And now I can't find where we even do that. But once we did that, we ran into these problems because we wanted to be able to send an email to verify them. Right? Now it's pretty straightforward. We just created this email verification required page, which we could scaffold, and then we, would send them that email. We wired that up with a provider, and all that stuff worked. The challenge, though, the part that stopped working, was that we wanted to only do that if the user was logged in, because we didn't want someone to be able to just randomly spam somebody with these verification emails, because some bot could hit our form and just start pushing things into that. So maybe it's in program.cs? That just does the seeding. That does that. Yeah, I don't know where we put that. It's weird. Anyway, long story short, you come in here to email verification required, and initially this thing was authorize, and if it didn't require it, you could actually just go in and send an email verification if you wanted to. It wasn't required, right? But you would already be logged in. The thing about once we required it, though, and I swear that's still there somewhere, maybe we ripped that out, was that you couldn't be authorized and get to this page. And so what would happen is, because if you hadn't verified your email, you couldn't log in. When you went to try and log in, if your email wasn't verified, it would give you an error. It would say, is not allowed, right? And that was because you're not logged in. And so it would say, well, if your email is not confirmed, then we're going to generate this email, and we're going to go redirect to this this confirm email page, and we'll try and send this to you. And the confirm email page is right here, and it's allow anonymous, right? So that worked. But then the email verification required page that things would redirect you to was authorized. It had to be because it needed to know who the user is. But you're stuck in this position where it's like, okay, I haven't actually verified my email, so I can't log in, so I can't get to this page as an authenticated user. So if I make this authorize, I'm just in this infinite loop where I'm trying to verify my email. Every time I try and log in, it says, hey, verify your email. And then it takes me to this page, and then that redirects me back to the login. So that was horrible. So we took this off, and I thought at one point this actually worked, but I don't see how it could have. Because once that's not there, maybe it worked because I was already logged in when I tested it. That's probably what it was. But if you come in here fresh and you're not logged in at all, then as soon as you hit this, you get that null reference exception. So the fix needs to be that this page needs to not only look, it needs to not look for user identity name. It needs to look for a form, right? It needs to look for an email that gets passed in, and we have to do some more checks. We got to verify whether that email corresponds to a pending user before we do that. So let's see. I think I need basically just an input model that's going to have the email, and then on the page I need to ask for that email. So if we go back to here and we say send verification email, if I know who you are, I don't need to have this page. So it's really only if you're anonymous. So there's that, and I could do something like there's a page helper for that, right? Allow anonymous, or what is the tag helper? Tag helper anonymous. I don't remember these. I don't do the razor that much. Yeah, here's what I'm looking for, and It's like if you're authenticated or not. There should be a tag helper for that. Built-in tag helper. I know environment lets you do it based on development or not. I want it based on whether or not you're logged in. Somebody in the chat's going to tell me that. Hey, you found it. Identity hosting startup.cs. Thank you. Alright, let's see. I'm falling behind on some of your things. Alright, so Surly Dev says, an app I wrote last year has a lot of heavy lifting in T-SQL, including importing a download CSV, and it was much faster to do it in T-SQL than with C#. Yeah, no, I would totally do that. For bulk data stuff, yeah, just do SQL. But for general, like, I need to modify my profile and save it, there's no reason why that can't just be an object that you work with and then just store the changes to that object in the database. Use the right tool for the job. If you're doing bulk work, if you're doing big queries, if you're doing reporting, write SQL for that. And you can call that SQL however you want. So let me go find where these folks are telling me to look, which is right here. And right here it says this. And this formatting is awful. Let's fix that while we're here. And how's that? That's probably better. Alright, so yeah, so we're saying require confirmed email is true. That's the root of my pain, right? That's what's causing all these problems. I could get rid of that and then this problem would go away, but so thank you guys for finding that for me. So dev continued on. It made more sense to also have dedupe of records done in T-SQL. Sure. And if it's mostly about the data in that case, then that's fine. The app is more data centric than business process or business logic centric, and that's fine. There's apps like that. All right. Naved Shemukh, I don't know how to say your name. I apologize. Thank you very much for finding that. Now, I don't need that. I'll just save everything. And I do need to figure out how to show something only to someone who's not authenticated. And I used to know how to do that. Tag helper based on authentication. ASPNET core. How do you do that? Authorize, right? So why is that not in there? Was that never pulled in? Was it only Dave's thing? Because I know Dave did this way back in 2017. I really thought this got pulled into the real thing. So is this just a NuGet package of his still? In this blog post, we build and authorize tag helper. Tag helper. Yeah, I've used this before. Okay, well. Does anybody know if this authorized tag helper ever got put into the actual framework? I thought it did. Possibly this. Thank you, Danilka. Policy-based authorize. See, I can do it with an if statement, but I wanted a tag helper. And I don't want to have to run code inside my view. I want my view to be dumb. That's why I like tag helpers. Let's see, Nyoashi's got another one. And his is policy-based auth with Blazor. Chris Sainty, 7 months ago. I'm not using Blazor though, so let's see. Log in, log out. I don't know which one of these is going to be protected. I guess we'll just look. Not that one. I don't see any authorized stuff in there. It's using Blazor shared auth. Ah, here it is. Attribute authorized policy. Policies is admin. Okay. Got it. But again, that's Blazor. I don't think I want Blazor. So I think I just want to use this. I know I've used this before. So let's grab that, and since I've got the thing in my clipboard to do it from PowerShell, let's just do it from PowerShell. and paste, and paste, really? And paste, there we go. Thought I had it in my clipboard. Alright, got that. Yeah, related article. That's fine. Okay, good stuff. I will check that later, Niwashi. Here's his actual code. But all I want is something that says ASP authorize, right? I don't care about roles. I just want to say authorize. Users who are authenticated. That's all I want. I just want, if they're authenticated, I don't want them. Really, I want the opposite of this. I want ASP anonymous. Like, if they're anonymous, I want them to see. I need an else block for this. I don't know if he has that though. Well, let's find out. All right, so we added it. We can build. We're still in DevBetter Web. Verification required. Do I have to do something to pull in the tag helper in my view? Surly Dev, good luck. Yeah, that the extension got updated recently, so it's close to the latest. Okay, so to use this ASP authorize div like that, I can go over here, and I want it to be as part of the form, so I put it right there. And if you're logged in, you see this, right? So let's see if that builds, and see if I can run it. Okay, and I really just want to go to that page. It's gonna blow up because I'm not logged in now, but I could log in. So let me log in. Log in. No, I don't know if I'm logged in or not. It's not acting like it. Yeah, that's another place I should look. How am I doing the login thing up there? Because that's gotta have that same logic. I forget that I had that. So in our master page, they're not called master pages anymore, in my shared display template page, layout, is that where I'm doing the login? I'll just do some if logic. Oh, well, you know what, that's probably good enough. So, sure, let's just do that. Let's go over here, let's go here, if not, user yada yada yada. Alright, get rid of that. Then let's add some text here to do this. Alright, so we're going to ask for an email, and it's on my model. Input.email. Acquired verification model. That's here. I need a property called input, I think, with an email on it. Public. Yeah. Could just do email, right? Public string email. Get set. That's really the only model I need, I think. Non-nullable emails uninitialized. Alright, fine. How about that? I added null reference types to this not too long ago. Yeah, icon doesn't look good in dark mode. No, I've noticed that too, Surly Dev. I don't know what to do about that. Okay, open this condition tag helper Div condition model.approve. That's interesting. So you get rid of the imperative code and just add a condition. I like that. I might switch to that. Alright. So I'm already using this model.email. So over here, if this is just model.email, is it just email? Can we get away with that? Yeah, that's it. Alright, good. Boom. Bind that to email. Perfect. I can tell it even on the other side that I want it to bind the property, I think. Bind the property. So then I don't even have to put it here, right? Because this will get bound on a post automatically. And then this now is going to look for email. So we're going to say string email equals, and it should be user.identity.name, or it should be email. Like that. And then this can just be email. Maybe. Alright. And then if we don't find the user, we just silently fail, right? So if user is null, return. We don't want them to know. We don't want them to be able to use this as a way to determine whether or not someone is a user. Alright, I think that is close to working. What do you guys think? If you were educating teams, div condition user dot, yeah, I like that. Let's try that. So div condition not user dot, right? So here is where I would just specify condition equals not user dot identity dot is authenticated. You think that's gonna work? This was not in a good spot. Get rid of that. Alright, I don't know if that's going to work. I've never tried it before. But we'll find out. So, alright, so we should be able to hit this page. /account/ email verification required. We need it on the other div as well. What other div? This is the only thing I want to appear or not. Otherwise, you're always going to click this button. No, I think we're good. I don't really like this. Like, I would just have this go to a different page using post redirect get, but it's fine. I didn't write this. Alright, so this is generated code from the scaffolder. Alright, so let's run it. Probably how to debug it. And here's my code. And if I log in, I can do demo user at microsoft.com with that and log in. And now theoretically we're logged in. I don't know why this isn't working, but I think I've got a cookie. There's my auth. There's my in a forgery cookie. Where's my auth cookie? It's like login's not working for some reason. Try this one. Log in. So that didn't work either, as far as I can tell. I was running into this earlier too. Like, why can't I log in on localhost? Which makes it harder to see if this thing's going to work, right? Because we're going to go to /account/ whatever the heck the thing was called. Email verification required. Go there. doesn't exist because it's actually slash identity. It's an area. Hey, look, there it is. It says that. Well, that's what it should say. Steve plus test at somewhere.com. That shouldn't exist. And it should just silently let that go through. Although it didn't say that it was sent. So maybe that's not going to work. But if we do admin at test.com, that's an actual user. Okay, good. Did the same thing. But I think, oh no, it's hanging. Never mind. It didn't do anything. Yeah, there it tried to actually send the email. Which is fine. But I need to act as if I sent the email either way, just so I don't leak information. So here, instead of just returning, I need to what? Where's that set? This model.verification email sent. Where's that get set? I don't know how that ever worked. Might be Chrome same site cookie issue. What is the Chrome same site cookie issue and how do I avoid it? Alright, so I want to set verification email sent. I think the only way I can pass that in is if I do like a redirect with a query string or something, right? Or can I just set it? Like if I do here, if I just set it and return, will it do the right thing? Unless this is async, so this should be like task dot completed task, maybe? Alright, fine. It's just going to return. That was working before. But this should set that property, right? Verification email sent equals true. As a matter of fact, we're going to just assume that that's always true for what that's worth. We'll go back to that. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work when this thing finishes and it goes on to render, but we'll see. There again. Go to WEC identity account, email verification required. There's that. Admin at test.com is going to actually try and send, which I don't want. So this is not a real account. Let's do that. Or is it? Maybe it is a real account. Must be a real account because it tried to do it. Aha! Perfect. That's what I want. Okay. If I want it to actually work, we can run an email server. And we can hit this thing again. We can hit it with a real email. We can send it. And boom. It's sent and it worked. Alright, I think that works. So I think that fixes it. So now I just want to create a pull request. Got time to spare. I might be able to fix something else. Okay. So in here, what did we do? I guess I'll do the Visual Studio change tracker. That'll be easier. Sweet. In here, I just did white space. That's fine. Here we added this, and we used this condition thing, and it seemed to work. So that was cool. Didn't have to do anything for that. In here, we did all this, and that works. In here, we just did some formatting, and in here, we added a NuGet package that we didn't end up using, so we're going to get rid of that. Is that my only change? Looks to be my only change, so we're just going to revert this. And email verification updated to have anonymous users provide their email. Sounds good. And we just committed to master. But that's okay, I'm just going to push. And then let's see what this does. So, with that, let's go back over here. Let's go over to here. And let's watch it publish. And then while that's doing its thing, let's go out to portal.azure.com. I should already be logged in. We can go out to this web app. We can go look at its logs, configure app service logs to be on for the file system. They are. Go into the log stream. And let's see. Hey, Junicus, do you happen to recall if you did a blog post for that specification library you're working with earlier? I'll go over the 150 page, but didn't see a search there. Yeah, I used to have a search on my blog, but I just moved it, and now I don't. So your best bet is Google. But I can tell you I don't. Someone already posted a link to it on DevIQ, which is a good place to look. So if you do a DevIQ specification, you'll find this link. And that talks about it a little bit. I also talk about it in my ebook on eShop on Web. So if you do eShop on Web specification, there's some things with that. I gave a tour of it here on, hey, that's me, on YouTube a while back, last October. And then in here, implementing one of these, I think it's this one. Let's see. This is the book, but in the documentation. Nope, that's Caesar's thing. Alright, so somewhere in the book it talks about it. So if you go out to eShop on Web, Specificatino, go here, Junicus, yeah, you'll find it. Grab this book. Here it is in PDF, I think. Boom. Open the PDF. Search. Specification. This talks about it right here, fetching related data using the specification. So page 64 is a whole chapter on working with data. Talks about it. Alright. I could do more, and certainly I need to do more with the README file. So I'll get on that. So that worked. I don't need that right now. That was blowing up because of email. This we didn't end up using. That we didn't end up using. That we didn't end up doing anything with. Here we go. DevBetter web. Still building. Hasn't published yet. So here's my log stream. If we go out to actualdevbetter.com, you should see it hit the log stream here. So there's my request. If all of you go and hit it right now, you'll see your request coming through here as well. Neo Ashi asks, is the specification pattern used only for queries? Yeah, generally. Otherwise, it would be a command. So specification generally specifies a query. Sometimes that pattern is also used for construction of things. So, for example, a common example I've seen, hey, people are hitting it, nice job, is say you have some cargo and you want to ship it, and your cargo needs to be kept refrigerated. And there are a whole lot of different types of train cars that could carry your thing. You would have a specification attached to your cargo that would say it can only be used with train cars that are of a certain type. In that case, the train cars probably already exist, and so it's sort of like a query. But you can also use it to create something. Like you'd be like, you wouldn't create a train car, but imagine that you needed to create something fit for purpose. The specification could define the characteristics of the thing that you are creating, and so you could use it with a factory pattern or something like that as well. Is the specification pattern used for validating commands as well? I suppose it could be. I mean, it usually has at the bare minimum, it would have a method called isSatisfiedBy where you pass something into it. So you could use it as a validator. You could pass something in, and then you would run isSatisfiedBy, and it would check its properties. And if it was satisfied, if it validated true, then it would pass. And if it weren't, then it would fail. All right, so you guys are hammering the site. That's great. I should talk about DevBetter at some point, but you can read the page. This is a private group coaching program that I run, and there's some testimonials down here at the bottom you can read. So you can check that out if you want. We just met this morning and had a good conversation talking about C# and namespaces and a bunch of other things. Alright, so this service unavailable should be the fact that it's publishing. And this should be my web app deploy initiating. Alright, so this is all working. So now if you hit it, the site's probably down because Azure. I could get around that with deployment slots, but I'm using a super cheap version of Azure, so it's just a single instance app service. And that's not good. But it says it's done, and it says it's green. So that means this ought to be coming back up any second now. There it goes. Good, good. Okay. And so now, if I log in, hopefully here I can log in for realsy. So log me in. I'm logged in. Sweet. Alright, and then if I go to /identity /account /email verification, is that what it was? Email verification required. Nice small URL. Email verification required. There. Okay, I can request another verification email. So sure, why not? Now that shouldn't actually be showing me this because I'm logged in, right? Danielko, good seeing you again. Sorry you gotta run. And Neoashi, good. I'm glad that explanation helped. Okay, folks, help me out with this. It's great that I'm able to put this email in, but I thought we just verified that in here, this condition should only show this if the user is not authenticated. But I am clearly authenticated because I'm right here. So this shouldn't have shown up. So that's a bug. But if I don't fill it in, it still should work. Yep. And if I do fill it in, I don't know what it does then. I think it's going to... I coded it so I can see what it did. It's going to say, use this one, and only if this is null, use the email. So it'll still use my authenticated name. But why did it show it? Thought we had that working. Alright, I might have to backtrack on that condition. So it seemed like that didn't work. Input tag helper. Where's that condition tag helper at? Alright, you guys are still hitting this. That's great. Let's see if I actually got my email. I still don't see an email. So I don't know what's up with that. Alright, none of you have registered, because I would see it if you had. My email's just not coming through. That is bothering me. Alright, it says verification email sent, but it didn't actually do it. Or at least I'm having issues with my email. Alright, so we're closer, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think I'm going to change out this condition thing. It doesn't seem to be working. Let's Google for that real quick. Condition ASP.NET Core tag helper. So I had that before. No, no. Was it this one? No. It was a built-in one, right? This one. Oh, you know what? This is an example of making one yourself. I'll bet it doesn't exist. Condition tag helper. Add this class to your tag helpers folder. Yeah, I have to write this myself. That's what it is. I don't have a tag helpers folder, but I could have. So sure, let's just throw this in here. They didn't put that in the framework. They just left that as an exercise for the reader. So okay, fine. Why not? I don't have any tag helpers in here. Let's create one and see if this actually works. Tag helpers, add class. Condition tag helper. Yep, alright. Okay, so that builds, and now if I go back to areas here, do you know that that's a thing? See, that's not telling me anything if it's not one. Run the app. Thing won't be rendered. I thought I saw that work already. I guess I didn't. Alright, so if I run this... Oh, I only saw it work. That's right, because I couldn't get authentication working. So it was always not authenticated. That was the reason why I didn't see this work. Okay. Let's just push this up and see if this works. Alright, in the meantime, we seem to have an issue with actually getting emails to send, which should totally be working in production. But I keep having these problems where in production, when it goes to deploy, it ends up adding an ASP.NET development thing, and development environment variable. And what happens is when it's in development mode, it is configured not to send actual emails because, you know, we're in development. So somewhere in here, in my registration module for infrastructure, this is right here, it says use local SMTP email if we're in development, otherwise use SendGrid. Well, I really made it mad there, didn't I? We have put it in authorized view. We've put what in authorized view? Yoashi. Okay, let's see. We got about 15 minutes left. Come on, Visual Studio, wake up. Let's delete all those. Get rid of that. You wouldn't think go to definition would be that hard. Alright, so the question is the application running out there in Azure with the SendGrid service or the other service? And I have it configured, I think. to let me view the services that are running. Here, I go to all my services. So let's see what that does for me. So we come out here. This is in the process of pushing on another change. Let's go look at where that is. Here, condition tag helper, it's 3 minutes in. It's still building, so we've got some time. So all my services here doesn't work. Really? Why don't you work anymore? It used to work. That should only work in development. That's why. That's by design. Okay, thanks, Neoashi. With a policy for if you're authenticated. And can you not that policy? Can you reverse it? Can you say only if you're anonymous? Because that's what I wanted. That was the trick. Alright, I can't view services in production because it's not installed there, which is probably fine. So how do I diagnose why it's not sending emails? I am logging when I send emails, right? So if I watch the logger, it should tell me if it actually tried to send it. So in my area, in my email verification required that we've been looking at, if we look here, I have a logger. I don't know if that logger is doing anything. So there's a logger here. And if we get to this point, we're about to try and send an email. So let's do logger.log information, sending email to, and this is sending to user.email. This should really be changed to email, right? Yeah. Alright, so we'll at least log it. Create a not authenticated policy. Okay, that is a thing. Good. That's what I was wondering. Alright, so that will help me at least see if that happens. Now I was also publishing some events on some of these things, and the events that I had handlers for were forgot password, invalid user, new user, error, but not for email verification required. So I could also fire off an event when this triggers and then see if I get the email. But that seems like overkill. I think the logging is sufficient. So let's just do that. Let's push that up. Alright, that'll trigger through the build process. May not get that done before we wrap up here in a few minutes. But let's go see where we are. So back out here. This thing is still trying to publish. It looks like it's about to be done. What security question is that? Alright, this thing's blowing up because it's restarting. Maybe when it, let's see if we clear this. Maybe it'll show us the environment. Should we put authorization logic in the domain or in command handlers or in the application? Or are you assuming your command handlers are in the application? Because a lot of times you can put command handlers in your domain. Come on. Deploy, deploy, deploy. This should be down now while it restarts. Site under construction. Here we go. Oh, that was me. Alright, I don't see anything in here that says that we're not in production mode. It's early dev. There's no reason I can't replace the Clean Architecture web project with something like WPF, WinForms, etc. No, absolutely not. If you do want to do a CLI one though, go look for my Clean Architecture worker service template, because I've already done that work for you. So you go out here, github.com, Ardalis. I don't have one for WPF or other types of things, but if you come out here and you search for Clean Architecture, you'll see this Clean Architecture.worker service. Yep. If you clone that and run it, do I have any screenshots? I should add screenshots. It's basically just laid out as a worker service here. So there's a program that runs, and all this thing does is queue up some messages, because when you would run this for real, there'd be something else giving you a queue of worker things to do, right? So this thing just does that for you, so it has something to do, and then it runs the host, and when it runs the host, that's the worker, right? So the worker is the thing that does the loop and picks up the things off the queue. So if you look at the worker, it just has a cancellation token to stop it, but otherwise it gets an item off the queue and does whatever it does with it. So this is where you put your actual worker code that needs to respond. Think like an Azure function. And everything else is all set up for you. So you just clone this solution and put your code here, and then deploy it, and you're done. You also need to point it at the actual queue you want it to listen to, instead of the built-in one. And it has a Docker file. I think it's already all set up to run with Docker too, so should be good. Tony, what was your question about DDD and clean architecture earlier? Did I see it? Scrolling. I saw you asked about links on the specification pattern. I answered that. I think that's the only thing you asked. How would you counter the argument about EF? We talked about that. Hopefully you saw that. Yeah, and then you can deploy your worker service as a web job. That's true. Okay, so the application should be running. We can run this, and we can go back. I'm still logged in, so we can go to /identity account email verification required. That's still showing up. I don't think I did anything to fix that. But if we do steve@ardalis.com, or leave it blank, either one, shouldn't matter. If we clear this and hit that, it says it sent it. And now this says that it looked me up. It says select this person with that username, and then it says using email service implementation send grid email service. So I already had that logging happening. And then I said I'm sending an email with subject confirm your email, blah blah blah. So it thinks it actually sent it. So then if I go look at my inbox, I should have that code. Why am I not getting emails? Like, this is not the only email I'm missing on this email account. So I wonder what's going on here. Alright, well, if any of you register and then try and get an email, hopefully it works for you. I need to test out sending emails to my email account from my other email account, see if that does it. But this is good, right? Everything's working with my logging. I can see exactly which implementation I'm using, which I like. So there's no question that in production I'm using the SendGrid service, and it tried to use SendGrid to send it. You can see somebody's hitting the page now. That's great. I suspect it's one of you because it's not like anybody else ever comes to this site. But yeah, go try and hit this endpoint here, which you should get linked to once you log in. And hopefully you get an email verification link. Alright, so the last thing we changed was adding logging. And that didn't actually show up yet, but the site's going to restart here in a second with that change. So I'm not going to wait around for that, but that was just going to add one more log, and I've already got enough logging to see that it's working. User created a new account with a password. Yay. Code stencil. Naved. Alright, I see you all. Cool. I actually have Discord integration with this, so every time that somebody registers, it's pinging a Discord with a bot using an Azure webhook. Or not an Azure webhook, a GitHub. No, what is it? Yeah, it is an Azure webhook with Discord. Discord webhooks. So that one. So if you want to see how I did that, I actually have a blog post on it here, which I'll paste into the chat, and then that'll be enough for today. Alright, you guys are getting email confirmation. So something's just broke with my email. I don't know what's going on with it. So, you know, it's a Gmail account. It ought to work. But I'll figure that out. So now let's go find out who's online with live coders. So twitch.tv/team live coders. And I don't know who this person is, but they are doing something with code. Code Rush is on? I don't see Code Rush on. Is he still on? Yeah, the Prime Gen is on. You can watch his keyboard here. He's doing something with a game. Games are always fun. He's got 200 people watching him. That's way more than I ever get. Sure, let's go raid Prime Gen and I'll go check out what he's doing. So the Prime Gen. Yep. Let's see if I go over here, get back into Twitch, and go into my dashboard. I will say thank you everybody for joining me today. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And let me figure out where the raid button is. We'll hit that guy up. Start raid. And I'll jump in there and see what he's up to. So 21 viewers are ready to raid in 4, 3, 2, 1. Raid now. Go, go, go.